Welcome, everybody. I am so happy that I see other people dressed up. I was a little bit worried that y'all were going to leave me hanging, but you guys did not disappoint with the costume contest. I will not be competing. I'm abstaining. I am just setting an example. So we don't want anybody to think it's rigged. There are judges who are judging. Thank you for everybody for participating. So first up here, we have our invocation, which will be given by Dr. Joe Michaels, Managing Principal, Solomon Bruce Consulting, followed by our national anthem, played by Wesley Gentle, Director of Advancement, Arts Council of Fort Worth. And you have to see his costume, and you have to guess what it is.
You're guessing Wesley's costume, not my costume. There you go. That's exactly right. Let us all pray together, please. Dear God, we come at this hour, this day as Rotarians. We delight in fulfilling to be in fellowship together, to have, to share, to give, to those less fortunate than ourselves. We give thanks for the many bountiful blessings you have bestowed upon us. As Rotarians, we continue to share and give in order to make the world a better place for peace and joy for all of us. We pray for our elected representatives and ask that you protect and guide our American fighting men and women as they are in harm's way today. We give thanks for the food that we are about to partake, the hands that have prepared it and the hands that have served it. And all these things we pray, amen. Dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stars and bright stars through the peril o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, play ball. And now we want to thank our sponsor for today, the Jordan Elizabeth Harris Foundation. Thank you for your sponsorship. Next slide. So we, here at Rotary, we have our four-way test. So if you'll help me repeat the four-way test. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number four, will it be beneficial to all? And now we welcome to the stage Ed McLinn, Managing Director, Larkin Addison, to welcome our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Thank you, President Courtney, and congratulations to everyone who correctly guessed my costume today. I want to welcome all of our guests that are here in person and any that may be on Zoom. First, we have Justin Malone, who's a guest of Bob Mitchell. If you'll stand so everybody can recognize you. Brandy O'Quinn, who's a guest of past President Andy Taft. Okay. Sarah White, who is also a guest of past President Andy Taft. And Lauren Acton, also a guest of past President Andy Taft. We have Aaron Buck, who's a guest of Brad Nallen. And Onyinye Johnson, who's a guest of her husband, William Johnson. And those are all of our guests today. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. Now, for the moment some of you are waiting for, some of you may be dreading, everybody hold your breath, buckle your seatbelts. We have Eric Fox back for an encore newscast. He is the director of Lockheed Martin Corporation. Eric, the mic is yours.
Thank you all for that warm welcome. I feel like Alec Baldwin at a Defender's Outdoor Gun Safety class. That's the lead-in, folks. They're going to get better. I feel like Dave Chappelle at the Transgender Rotary of West Hollywood. There we go. Now we're going. In national news, Democrats and President Biden are working out the budget and an infrastructure bill. It's expected to be voted on in the coming days. The Build Back Better bill is the name of it. In a related story, the White House this week fired the person in communications who came up with the name Build Back Better bill for a president who has a speech impediment. Republicans are saying that this is Jimmy Carter 2.0 all over again from the 1970s. Inflation is going up, gas prices are climbing, and shortages on everything. President Biden said that is ridiculous. This isn't the 1970s all over again. And then his mood ring turned black. Steve Bannon was held in contempt of Congress this week. This is exactly what Bannon wants, plays into his persecution and Messiah complex. Now, Bannon is similar to Jesus in that he looks like that he has been dead for at least 3 days. Really? Are y'all related to Steve Bannon? No. The FDA authorized mixing and matching of booster shots and vaccines as we enter the just wing it phase of the pandemic. Seriously, when it comes to medication, when has your doctor ever said, just mix and match, it's all good? In state news, Lieutenant Dan, our lieutenant governor, paid a Pennsylvania poll worker, Eric Frank, $25,000 for proving voter fraud. The political irony is not lost on anyone. Eric Frank is a Democrat and the voter fraud was a Republican. This combined with a Las Vegas man, Dan Hartle, who claimed his dead wife's mail-in ballot was stolen and someone voted for her. This week, Dan Hartle was charged with voter fraud for voting for his dead wife. Republicans have got to get better at cheating. Also this week, we've got our property tax statement from Wendy Burgess. Everybody get it? Not, you're not going to get this joke. Let's break it down. 52% goes to education. Don't forget that today is the last day to early vote. No humans are on the ballot, just bond packages and constitutional referendums. So who is against education? Exactly. 24% goes to the city. Who in this room is against Mayor Parker? Exactly. 10% goes to the county. Who hates Judge Whitley in this room? Exactly. 9% goes to JPS. Who doesn't like level 1 trauma? Nope. 0.5% goes to 0.5 of 1% goes to TCC. Who does not like an educated citizenry? Nope. And 1/10 of 1% of your property tax goes to the regional water district. Who in this room does not like a cold drink of water and a shower? No one. So back to Lieutenant Dan, full disclosure, my property tax bill that I got this week is $16,514. I'm proud of that because my house has gone up in value for the last 15 years that I've been in it. Lieutenant Dan wants to cut property taxes. On average, he wants to cut $180. He wants to cut $480 of mine. Not exactly moving a needle on $16,514 for the services that the fastest growing city needs, wants, and deserves. In business news, this week marks the 20th anniversary of the Joint Strike Fighter decision. For those of you that have forgotten about 2001, let me remind you what it was. It was winner take all. It was Lockheed versus Boeing. It was St. Louis versus Fort Worth. It was good versus evil. And good won. It is still the largest economic development project ever in the history of the city of Fort Worth and the history of the state of Texas. And in 2 weeks, we'll remember all our veterans who served our country. So to recap, if you can read your phone today, thank a teacher. If you can read it in English, thank a veteran or a Lockheed Martin worker. Local news today, downtown Fort Worth had a gas leak. People in Sundance Square were sent a text message saying, please shelter in place. Then as the leak got larger, received a text saying, evacuate immediately from Sundance Square, which seems excessive since the only people left in Sundance Square are Sasha Bass and 8 of her minions. Could as well just yelled it at her, Sasha, get out. Speaking of Sasha Bass, I got a lot of questions the last time I was here about Haltom's Jewelers story and dog poop. If you think I was lying, I want you to go to Haltom's today. There is a witch in their lobby with a clear plastic box in her hand. Inside the plastic box, plastic poop. So I think I get who the witch is in this analogy. And remember, Clear Fork has free parking all day, every day. In sports, the Astros and the Braves play tonight, Game 3 of the World Series tonight. The Astros are returning to the World Series for the 3rd time in the past 5 years. The Texas Rangers are still rebuilding for the past 11 years from the last time they were in the World Series. In fact, they've rebuilt themselves all the way back to the 2nd worst record in the team's 50 years of existence. Maybe we need better ownership, and maybe we need a few more trash cans. There's not a baseball fan in here. Now for the weather. I don't know, just go outside and look around. Remember, it's not that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing. So finally, this is it. Yeah, wait till you hear what finally is. Finally, on a very serious and somber note, everyone in this room needs to have empathy, sympathy, and compassion. Don't punch down. Treat people with dignity and respect because our city is about to be tested. In the coming weeks, the pretrial for Tiana Jefferson will begin. If you don't know who she is and was, you will, and you really should learn more about her if you don't. The trial will gain national and international focus on our city. The coming weeks and months will be painful, hard, and difficult. We must use this time as an opportunity for change. We must use this as a mirror to look at ourselves and our fellow citizens to learn, heal, and make our city better. Most of us in this room need to listen more and talk less, me included. Please use the love in your heart to make all of us better children of God. Enjoy your weekend and have a safe and happy Halloween.
Thank you, Eric. And now we welcome Chris Jordan to the stage. He's the president of Electroacoustics, Inc. for a quick RMBA announcement.
That was a great setup, Eric. So what we have is a practical way to bring healing and to bring peace to our community. And that is with the Rotary Minority Business Award that is already off to a great start. We've got over 25 nominees. What you can do is go to the Rotary webpage, click on Nominate a Business, and nominate your favorite minority business. Okay. The second thing we need, go ahead and click the slide, is more sponsors. This is a sponsor list from last year. Many of these have already renewed. We are almost to our goals, but we need a few more. So if you'd love to sponsor this event, if your name is up here from last year, you want to re-up, this is a great time to re-up. So go back to the Rotary webpage, go to the Minority Business Award, and it's got one bar for nominated business, and it has another bar to become a sponsor. Extremely easy to do, or you can see Mark Maurer for a sponsorship as well. So more than anything else, we go between now and the end of the year to nominate as many businesses as we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. And it really does only take about 5 minutes to nominate a business. And now we welcome to the stage Derek Moffitt, Principal Moffitt Financial Strategies for a We Care event announcement.
Thank you. I beat you again, David said as he danced a little bit of a victory dance. I let you win, I replied. David and I both knew that was not going to pass the four-way test. The epic game of foosball occurred after a We Care event that I attended a couple of years ago. I had the privilege of taking David and his buddies around from table to table, helping them do arts and crafts and fill their bags with all kinds of fun things. And so it was a marvelous experience. If you have time on December the 8th, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., I encourage you to join us at the Boys and Girls Club, the East Side Branch, for the We Care event. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to take a moment and help these kids have a great and joyful experience. We have all types of opportunities. You could be a table leader and recruit people to help you do crafts and things at the tables. We need volunteers that can do decorations and chaperones, people to set up and tear down, face painters, and Christmas carols. I think Carlo was walking around with guitars singing Christmas carols that year that I volunteered. We also need some food donations, pizza, snacks, drinks, and sandwiches. Please come out, take a moment. The Boys and Girls Club has said that this year, with all that has happened with COVID, these kids really have had a tough time and they need some joy in their lives. So help us spread Christmas cheer. December the 8th, Boys and Girls Club, East Side Branch. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. And you know, kids do remember. I read with a Walton student this morning, and when I walked in, she said, "You came back." So these kids do, it does make an impact on them when we show up. Now I welcome to the stage our President-elect, Sean Snell, standing in for our Secretary, Rebecca Montgomery, for a second reading and a vote.
Thank you. I'm still digesting our very own version of Fox News right here in Fort Worth. So we have one second reading today. The following proposed new member was submitted during the October 22nd program. If no objections are received through the voting process, then the proposed member will be accepted into our club. Name, Maria Mason. Classification, real estate sales. Title, CEO, company, Camino Real Estate. Proposer, past president Carlo Capua. I move her election subject to attending a new member Rotary information session.
All right, I heard a first and a second. All in favor? All right, the ayes have it. She is hereby elected, and welcome to the club. All right, and now we have two member introductions. The first one, we welcome Bob Mitchell to the stage with his new member, John Avila. Bob is an executive recruiter with Whitney Smith Company.
This isn't a newscast for crying out loud. So, John Avila, born and raised in San Antonio. After he finished high school, he went to Vietnam and served there for a number of years and moved up through the ranks to become a captain in charge of ordnance for part of the theater of war, which was remarkable then, could never happen now because you have to have a college degree. He then found he's gone as far as he could, so he went back, went to UT, got his engineering degree, discovered co-eds, and he got into the commercial construction business, contracting business. And when he was here to be the general manager, project manager of one of the Bass Towers, he and his wife fell in love with Fort Worth. They bought a venerable hired firm called Thomas S. Byrne, and he supercharged it. And they have since then, John is at every award and recognition you can possibly get. He has done a great job with raising a family and has been the caricature of passing it forward and giving back. I should have mentioned he did make it to Brigadier General in the military. This is really starting to sound like a eulogy, but get him close to a microphone and he springs to life. John Avila.
Thank you, Bob. Well, it's been 27 years since we moved from Richardson, Texas, where I was the executive vice president of Manhattan Construction Company. You'll know them. They built the ballpark in Arlington and Cowboy Stadium and so forth. And we had the remarkable experience of purchasing Byrne, which is really been doing real well, and I want to thank everyone for the support we've had over the years. I became a Rotarian early on, but then took a brief hiatus, and so this is the return. And so I'm certainly glad to be back amongst friends and to make new friends, and glad to be here. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And now we welcome to the stage Jim Austin, President, jimaustinonline.com. Got it right, Jim. And his new member, Wendy Shaw, CEO, Longhorn Boy Scout Council. Come on up. And they're both in costume today.
Thank you, Madam President. It is always good to see you and be here at Rotary and celebrating 44 years membership in this prestigious club. Wendy Shaw, when Wendy moved to town, she asked, well, who should I meet? And they pointed out Jim Austin. Yes. So we met. I said, Wendy, come on over, do a tour of the museum. Let's go to lunch and have lunch. And I podcasted her. So there's not so much I can say about her, because I said, Wendy, where are you from? She said, Jim, I'm not telling you because that's part of my introduction. So I don't know where she's at, but she is over 23 counties of Longhorn Boy Scouts. So she's the CEO and a wonderful person. Here in Fort Worth, I don't know if you realize it, we partner with the Western Heritage Museum, but there are 4 Buffalo Soldier chapter Boy Scout troops in Fort Worth. So she's an amazing woman, and I'm so glad to be able to introduce her. But I want to thank you, Wendy, for being here and agreeing to come be a part of the membership. How many of you guys have been a Boy Scouts growing up? Raise your hands. Now, girls are part of the Boy Scouts. So we talked about that, and if you want to learn more about it, listen to my podcast. Wendy Shaw.
Thank you very much, Jim. So I do want to acknowledge, because I know that everybody here in the crowd wants the official definition of what a Jim Austin minute is, and it's a minute 41. So in the future, you can plan accordingly. When you're asking for a Jim Austin minute, know that you'll get a minute 41. But thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Jim, and it is a pleasure to be here. So supposed to share fun facts, gotta lead with an important one. Yes, I am a Packer fan, and yes, they had another great win last night. Woo, woo. Oh, tough crowd. Ooh, I got one thumbs up in the crowd. So yes, you probably also know what that means. That means that I am originally from Wisconsin, and I'll do my best not to talk with too much of an accent, so for sure you'll be able to understand me. So don't want to confuse the Texans with my Midwest accent. But I had the pleasure of marrying my best friend in college, and we are coming up on our 29th anniversary. So thrilled to spend my life with him, and he's extremely supportive of everything that I do, including what I do professionally. And yes, this is also a homage to what I do as the CEO of the Boy Scouts of America. But yes, this is my costume today as well. And you're probably wondering, a woman CEO of a scouting council. Is that rare? Well, 3%. So you are looking at 3%. So I'd say Fort Worth, you're leading the way. Nicely done. Good on you guys. So with that, I'm absolutely passionate about what I do for young people in the community, and I've been doing it for nearly 22 years. It's great when your passion gives you purpose every day, and I certainly wake up every day being more excited about what I do. having an impact. And certainly Scouting and Rotary lines up perfectly with the Scouting values and the four-way test. So I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you and looking forward to contributing to the great projects that the club does. So thank you.
Here you go. Welcome to our club. Okay, and now I welcome our chairperson of the day, Robert Stearns, Director, Economic Development, City of Fort Worth, who is also in costume. His costume is lowly government employee. So, Robert, welcome.
Thank you, President Courtney, for recognizing the hard work that I put into this costume. I really was going to come as The Rock today. You all know that I like to work out quite a bit. But as I was getting that costume ready, I was looking on Instagram and I saw Carlo Capua deadlifting about 5,000 pounds. And so I was shamed immediately and decided to step away from that. But I will say, Carlo, in about 10 years, you may need some of the physical therapy companies that Hayden works with. So I'll just keep his contact information close in mind. I do have the honor of introducing Hayden Blackburn with Tech Fort Worth. I've known Hayden for quite a while. We actually work at the same campus, the James E. Gwynn Entrepreneurial Campus, just south of downtown. And Hayden has been an outstanding partner when it comes to advancing the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Fort Worth. I can't think of anyone who has done more to support entrepreneurs and help them grow across this community. If you wanted to go down the list of companies that Hayden has been involved with that has helped grow out of this city, the list would be long and numerous. Check the Inc. 5000 list, you'll see a few of them there. But these are cutting edge companies that have really made an impact on what's going on, not only in Fort Worth, but across the country. Hayden's really has centered his entire career around social entrepreneurship and economic development. He coaches entrepreneurs commercializing innovative technologies, facilitates connections between entrepreneurs and angel investors, and partners with universities to commercialize technologies, and is a leader in the development of an entrepreneurial culture and mindset across the DFW region. He's helped organize multiple startup community staples, including Startup Weekend, 1 Million Cups Fort Worth. He has been a consistent judge with the Fort Worth Business Plan competition. He has been involved in our efforts to establish a medical innovation district here in the city, and the list goes on and on and on. He is a true leader when it comes to entrepreneurs. He serves on the board of many organizations in economic development and education, including Near Southside Inc. and the Fort Worth Public Library Foundation. Before joining Tech Fort Worth, Hayden was the creator and founding director of IdeaWorks Fort Worth, which was a mixed-use incubator formed in 2013 as a public-private partnership to fill some of the gaps that we saw in the ecosystem at that time. And for that, he was involved in launching Stages of Recovery in Lubbock, Texas, a sober living program and community that supports those in recovery from addiction to alcohol, drugs, and other related behaviors. So without further ado, I'll introduce Hayden Blackburn.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you. There's so many familiar faces around the room that have been involved in our organization, that have made an impact in entrepreneurship and innovation here in the Fort Worth community, and I hear that I am a continuation of the stories that you've heard over the last couple of weeks and months with some of the people like Elise Dickerson of EOSera, Les Crease of BIOS Partners. So hopefully I can paint even more of a picture of what's going on in this space. But I do have to say thank you to Robert, because at that campus, you never know how much a squirrel could really disrupt the power lines. We're at 4 times, maybe 5 times now with squirrels taking out the power, and we've got this whole system down to respond to it. So fun stuff. But let me paint a picture before we dive into this. And I want to welcome you to the land of innovation. It's filled with dreamers, tinkerers, and innovators of all walks of life. They are solving problems, those visible and those we don't even realize could be solved, and visualizing new. They're building a new world. Along their journey, one many would not take because it's frightening. They see and attract talent from co-founders and team members to board members and advisors. They need them all, and hit the trail looking for capital to launch and scale the high-growth tech companies of their dreams. The lifetime learners among them, they really seek out the sage, and that's my more subtle costume for today, is to guide, is to support across the many valleys and unknowns on the roller coaster that is the entrepreneurial life. And this is where we fit in. At Tech Fort Worth, we're helping those innovators become founders and helping those founders launch and scale those ventures and really become emerging technology companies. And there's a whole lot of paths to join in on this. And that's what I hope to present today. All the different on-ramps into innovation, into this community and beyond. And so we have, let's see if I can get it to work. Of course, the tech person that comes up gets to be the challenge on the tech issues it wanted to start. So I am lucky, and our organization is very lucky to have a team that supports this. And so you got to hear many of their names, but I do have to say thank you to Brandy, Lauren, and Sarah for joining today and being a part in the delivery of our services. Because when we communicate about what we do as an organization to those that are in our industry, it always ends with, wow, that's a lot. So hopefully I don't overwhelm you in the crowd today and on Zoom and online with just the myriad of things that we do. So my challenge and my team was really great about this, like simplify, keep it simple. So the simplest origin story that I could share is that we were blessed with founders in this community that said, we lost a lot of jobs in defense. This is known in the early 90s and mid 90s. Well, investing in planting seeds into the biotech industry back then has really bared some fruit. And I've got some stories to really amplify that and share kind of that impact along that journey. And so there was a lot that put in place back in '98. And so we're approaching the end of our 23 years of operations, supporting hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs along that journey. And I have some that I'll share throughout this, but there are core values that drive our behaviors. Number one, and first and foremost, is the give before you get. We're a service organization. We want to make sure that our operations and those that are involved in our organization are motivated to deliver instant impact into those innovators, not necessarily motivated for other reasons. And we also look at continuous improvement, that lifetime learner mentality. This is a commonality that we look from all entrepreneurs, is that they are open to learning, open to outside perspective, and we do the same in our own operations and continue to grow and scale and evolve our model, and I'll share a little bit later as well. And then the final one, collaboration. We can't do it alone. Entrepreneurs can't do it alone. We as an organization can't do it alone, and we've really drive that behavior in all of our work to create new partnerships and really expand on those existing partnerships. So let me take a quick tour of our programs because we work with three major audiences, and Robert kind of mentioned it, the entrepreneurs, the investors, and the university. So to keep this simple as well, there's two key vocabulary words for you to equip you with today as you leave: accelerator and incubator. For me, accelerator is a short-term program, usually 3 to 4 months, and there's usually two differentiations amongst that, non-seed and seed, and this points to equity. Some accelerators will do an equity investment to that company, direct and sit on what is called the capitalization table, to throw some buzzwords in there, and hold an equity position. For us, our value proposition to the entrepreneur is we declutter that relationship and don't place an equity investment. But that's what led to the launch of Cowtown Angels, and I'll share that just in a sec. So we run our program, Think Lab, and from there we move into long-term incubation, really helping incubate that founder, help equip them with resources and a network that they wouldn't otherwise be able to tap into, or just tap into it faster to support their growth as an individual. We need to help, and we focus on the individual entrepreneur because they've got to grow their company. We can't do that for them. We can only ease it and make it a smoother pathway towards success. We also, as an organization, can't guarantee success, but success leads to more success, and we'll see some stories along that journey. So we have programs at that launch stage and at that scaling stage. Our Fast Forward program is really for those that are going into new markets, mostly global, and really expanding and becoming that CEO that is going to be driving a lot of economic impact into our local community and regional communities. And from there, we've kind of evolved into increasing the pathway for mentors. And I can see some volunteers around the room that have done this, and this conversation comes up a lot, is a team-based approach to help them wrap around diverse skill sets, 4 to 5 mentors that are working with them. And this is one of those great examples of an on-ramp into innovation, that anybody that is sharing those same values, that is looking to drive impact, to sit with an entrepreneur and sit on a team of mentors for 6 months and really help them expose what are the challenges that they're facing and how to get over those hurdles and really drive some real growth, not just short-term, but also long-term impact. But for our entrepreneurs and our clients, they get to really test the waters of an advisory board. Many of them not ever doing that before or even knowing how to really start with that. So one entry point for us on the roadmap to innovation for anybody, and this could be you in the room or a network of people that you know, is mentoring directly with these companies. And as I mentioned, we also have really Fort Worth's only angel network. This was formed in 2012 with a founding group of angel investors. We did have one in this area, the North Texas Angel Network, but not everybody wants to drive over to Dallas. So creating one here in Fort Worth was really a powerful thing. And to date, over $25 million invested into 48 companies. Now it's agnostic to geography and to industry, but very favorable. And a strong percentage of the portfolio of companies invested are from this region and community. And has today celebrated 4 exits, with 80% of the remaining ones still in operations. It's doing pretty well as a group, but we're really looking to grow this. We're currently at 55 members, looking to grow to 70. So those that are entertaining the idea of getting into economic or into angel investing or know people that are, we have a clear pathway towards becoming a guest and getting a sample of the process and looking the type of deal flow that we have coming in. It's a very diverse type of deal flow, but they do play to our favorites. Whenever you recruit a bunch of former Alcon and research and scientists, you definitely skew towards the health. And when you have some of those exits and big stories that I'll share just a second too, it really starts to take shape. So our roots were founded in biotechnology and medical technologies. So the 3 big stories that have come out since 2015 have really been displaying those seeds in the 90s bearing the fruit. It's like an olive tree. So in 2015, we celebrated the acquisition of ZS Pharma. This is a name that many may know, or maybe this is the first time that you've heard of this, but you put $1 billion after it, that's a headline grabbing news. But the real story for me and the power of this story is what comes next. 2 of those individuals on that picture, Al and Jeff, they have gone on to do a trifecta of things for this region. They are mentoring and advising new startups. They are sitting on the board of those and investing directly into those startups, whether they be here or outside of the region. They even relocated a company from California to North Texas into Fort Worth with their investments and strategy. But they've also launched new ventures. So seeing these serial entrepreneurs launch new ventures, support new ones, we couldn't ask for a better scenario. Now, moving down the timeline to just the next year in 2016, Encore Vision. Just as big of an exit, it starts with an M, but a very happy founder in that journey. But also a big outcome of the creation, you may have heard Les point to this, is the creation of BIOS Partners, Fort Worth's first VC firm, now with over 350 million in operations and management, is an outcome of that acquisition. The two of the principals got connected in Cowtown Angels to do the due diligence, to look at Encore Vision as an investment and an opportunity. And when the big day came and the big exit led to, hey, we've got something here. We've got the right configuration. We met and connected in a network, in a group that really shown, I've got business, you've got science, let's move this forward and create something much bigger and that can last. And so those kind of impactful outcomes, we really try to track and look at as we look forward. And so just in 2019, on Exact Diagnostics met that same big milestone of acquisition. And those 2 founders, Jerry and Richie, I mean, because of this acquisition, we now have a multi-billion-dollar life science company from California in Fort Worth, new lab space developed and launched in the near south side. And they have gone on to launch more companies, have continued to invest and support more entrepreneurs. So those founders helping founders continues to this day. But those 3 are 3 of the big ones, and we've had more clients reach that milestone of acquisition just in the last 12 months, and forecasting even more that will be really breaking some great news over the years to come and have been hitting the headlines as of late. But 3 that I wanted to share as well, and some of these you may know, like Linear Labs, planning one of the first of its kind of economic development incentives with the city of Fort Worth to expand their growth. It's a former client. The current CEO, Brad Hunstable, actually paid for his father to go through our Think Lab program years and years ago to plant the seeds of validation of their technology and that pathway forward. So these kind of things that even if they do a small run of relationship with an entrepreneur support organization like ourselves, did it put them in a trajectory to have the pathway forward to reach even greater heights here in the community. Revitalized Charging Solutions is a really great one to look at as well, because it shows the diversity of type of the companies and founders that we're working with, but also because this was a powerful one that the city of Fort Worth said, yes, we want to work with a new electric vehicle charging station here in Fort Worth. And this one, we just got to celebrate the milestone of passing the UL certification for his residential unit. And gosh, that's a crazy journey during a pandemic of working with the UL offices to get that approved. There were some definitely highs and lows on that roller coaster of his journey to date in getting that launched. But sharing the news of that story is a very powerful one of the individual perseverance. There's no other word that I could use to better describe Edward Morgan, the CEO of Revitalize, than perseverance. The final one up here, Sarah, you've all learned about if you were joining Elise and learning about their journey to scaling and becoming one of the fastest growing companies in Fort Worth, Tarrant County, and the state. I think there were 753 on the Inc. 5000, so big kudos to their growth, but the intention to grow local has been just a huge kind of role model and example to others, growing from, gosh, 1,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet, having their own manufacturing, and keeping that here, and also looking at every turn of the way to use suppliers in the region and in the community, and hiring from the community as they grow and scale. And so that becomes a great role model, because we can't put it in our lease agreement that everybody has to stay in Fort Worth, as much as I know many people would love to have it in there. The lawyers would never say, sign this, but we want to make it as sticky as possible. Clean pathways to scaling and growing, adaptable kind of understanding of what the needs are for a wide variety of technology companies. Because we have an expanding partnership for this very reason. And the connectivity across this region, and especially the universities, is really, really strong. We have new ones that are in the mix. It was great that Eric mentioned the Build Back Better program. We're actually put in a proposal with Tarleton State and putting in new programs to increase the activities around rural entrepreneurship and the like. But we have long-standing relationships with the University of North Texas Health Science Center, going back from our very start as a long-term partner. And all three of those big headlining, grabbing news stories with biotech had the same configuration. They went into the lab space at UNT Health Science Center to do the testing, worked with Tech Fort Worth from a program and coaching standpoint, and ultimately reached those heights. And so it becomes an equation to look at, and how do we scale this? We've also had a long-term relationship now with University of Texas at Arlington, big partner in supporting the commercialization efforts with the IP coming out of that university, whether that be a student, a faculty member, an alumni, or individual looking at commercializing that IP. They have access to our programs. We also work with the students. We love this activity. It gets to change it up for us. We always joke we work with advanced degree individuals throughout our programs. There's a lot of masters and PhDs that we work with. And so working with people at the beginning of that journey in their education to have some experiential learning is something that we do with both with UTA and with TCU. We have a program that we've been doing since 2003 with TCU on internships with startups. Any year, it could be anywhere between 20 to 40 undergraduate students that are gaining access to work with local startups. And those students have then led to staying in Fort Worth, where they may have come from Colorado, Chicago, or California. They get hired, they stay here, or they launch new ventures because of the inspiration that they got access to. But that's all driven from an experiential fund that TCU has developed, and the students gain access in that way. And then with Cowtown Angels, we also launched experiential learning for MBA students in the fellowship with the group, 12 to 18-month fellowship alongside Cowtown Angels, really getting in the ropes and learning all the skill sets of due diligence and looking at angel type deals and transferring that into their career paths. Now, we do get the best of the best, but we did a little bit of stats a couple years ago, and they're beating their peers by a hefty amount on that post-graduation salary ranges. But they're an absolute pleasure, and we've had 18 students work through that program to date. And looking to now add a scientific fellow with the Health Science Center to complement the business-focused fellows. And we have a new one with the Texas Women University. And I'm about to share a stat of one that we're very proud of supporting women-led companies. And we've been able to really ramp that up this last year with awards programs to 7 female-led companies into our programs to reduce the cost and barriers into entry with the partnership with Texas Women's University, and having our inaugural Women in Wealth event this spring as a big marquee milestone this year, and getting that produced in a virtual setting, and really just sparking a lot of connectivity amongst women founders and mentors and investors across a wide range of industries. And so we really love the partnership with them. And one that we've had as well as this final one, TMAC, formerly known as the Texas Manufacturing Assistance Center. Now, many of our clients have grown and are in software, but just probably 60% of them have a hardware piece. So they gain access through a federal program, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program, to get up to $10,000 of engineering, labor, and support, whether it be prototyping, supply chain, manufacturing, FDA authorization. It's name it, they can usually do it and help support those companies and fill those gaps along the way. And so it's really been a substantial piece. I think 15 out of our 41 clients work right now with TMAC, and it's a growing interest. And it's so funny that Robert mentioned physical therapy. We've got a client right now, we're getting introduced to them in our Think Lab program to look at that very development of their medical device. So that stat, that one that we're really proud of, 51% of our current clients are women-led, have women on the leadership team. 33%, yes, absolutely. Creating a home that is safe and inviting to that profile of founder is absolutely encouraging. Now, full credit to my predecessor, Darlene Boudreau, when you have a female CEO of the nonprofit as well, that will help create those seeds that create a great pathway for support, and then amplifying that through partnerships. But with 33% of our clients on the minority-led field, that's an area that we're looking to invest through new partnerships as well, to grow that to up to 50% as well, as we continue to grow the number of companies. Because at 41 companies today that we're supporting, that's a new record. We have never supported more at any one time, and we anticipated this. We did some strategy sessions a couple of years ago with our board, and we created a chart. So X and Y charts, let's say the Y is recession economy and booming economy, and the other is high local support, low local support. In the quadrant of recession economy and high local support, we have spring, blooming. Everything gets to grow. There's a large opportunity because every time there's a recession or a down economy, you see increases of entrepreneurship. And we have seen that over the last 20 months. We are very lucky. We grew during a pandemic, hiring new team members, bringing on new clients, bringing in new partnerships, because there was this shared understanding that there is an opportunity to really invest in the support structure for them. Because, I think Cameron and Walker were here months and months ago talking about the stats that like so many of those unicorns are created during these times. Let's make it easier for unicorns to get started. So we're really excited about that, and we have a lot of opportunity to grow and scale, but we're kind of at a cap. We got a limited budget. Some would call it a shoestring budget, and kind of very consistent budget. But we kind of had a waiting list now, and had to create that because we want to continue to develop and be a strong support for all of our companies, and not just hit the gas pedal and suffer the service levels along that way. So we are actively changing the service delivery model for our programs. And one thing that I wanted to share before I go into that evolution, I almost forgot, is the breakdown of that profile of company that we're supporting today. Even our roots in biotech and medical technologies, 56% of our clients are in health, the broader sense of health, from pharmaceuticals and devices and therapeutics and diagnostics and digital health as a growing percentage. But you can see like that lead one, medical devices and biotech, it's still a really strong percentage for us. But if you look back 5 years ago, there was not nearly as much software that we were supporting, and the kind of work that we're doing to really increase that access and support for those individual companies. And it's becoming a great little piece of our mix, and we're hiring new coaches to help support that, bringing on specific coaches in software, specific coaches in non-dilutive funding, and helping support those grant pathways and really help them. But we've got to tweak our model. Our accelerator is a kind of cohort based, 8 to 10 companies coming in at one time, 2 times a year. So it's a very snapshot in time. You kind of have to wait to get into it, or you find out about it too late. So what we're working on right now is creating on-demand, asynchronous and synchronous for those educators in the room that could be accessed at any time of year, at any location, and really tap into the curated curriculum that has been developed, tested, and proven over the last decade for them. And so we're really excited about this. We're currently raising capital to support this evolution, to create a on-demand model that any entrepreneur can tap into at any time and go through that same experience of what they're learning and what they're being challenged to develop as they validate their solution to the marketplace. And we're also evolving our pieces to our incubation program, mastermind groups, really bringing in a new evolution to it to support even more, because the demand is growing and will continue to grow as we see more success. You see more people looking this way. I've got to do a better job of tracking the phone calls that I get of individuals going, hey, do you have lab space available? I'm looking from Houston, or I'm looking from Austin, or I'm looking from Portland. There is a demand for resources across areas that are looking at Fort Worth as a home base. You see these wins, you see these announcements, and it draws eyes. It was a fun conversation working with a ophthalmologist with our group, that when that Encore Vision story came out and was announced. So Encore Vision, they developed an eye drop for presbyopia, nearsightedness, so you don't have to have reading glasses. That's an awesome solution. Everybody wants to get in the market. It's going to be a big home run. Well, people said no to it. They say, oh, I don't believe in this idea. Nobody has the magic 8-ball. So for us at Tech Fort Worth, we're not judging the idea. We're looking to support that founder and help them grow and scale. And it comes down to a whole community, an ecosystem, a village to help support them. It takes many players, from universities, from service providers, from the other support organizations that are in this community, help them in different ways, like the Tarrant Small Business Development Center and SCORE that are funded by the Small Business Administration. It takes mentors, it takes students and talent, and it takes media. It takes this whole host of things that in our work, and an investor from Colorado, Brad Feld, communicates. The leaders are the entrepreneurs. We're all the feeders. There's probably entrepreneurs in this room today. We need to hear your voices. What are your needs? What are the barriers that are holding you back? I had the pleasure of joining Brandon from the Chamber this week, talking with tech leaders in the community about talent is a challenge. And so talent and capital, how do we increase those access and the all the pipeline that they're needing on both of those pathways. So we're really looking forward to growing our impact, going another 20 years, because it's a long-term vision. There's some short-term wins, filling some gaps. There'll always be gaps, and continue to develop partnerships to help fill those gaps. We don't have to be the leader or champion. We're looking for more champions to help drive that as well. But there's a lot of pathways to get involved. And so I'll leave with one and then go into some questions. Want to invite you to join us at our annual Impact Showcase and Awards. We have got this coming up March 3rd, 2022. It is a great chance to see 35 plus technology companies all in one location, all of those voices and players that I just listed off, and really feeling all of that energy that they have, the passion that's turned into purpose for them that they're really working on. And they'll also want to be challenged. Ask the tough questions to them and celebrate innovation that's changing our world. Because we're also going to have the awards that night. The biggest impact that's changing the world from what we've seen, the rising stars that are primed to really make those next home runs, and People's Choice. And so you got an opportunity to vote on your favorite as well. So we'll be March 3rd out at Globe Life Field, trying to go centralized for the region and a big fun venue to do it in. We've kind of outgrown the venues that we've done here in the Fort Worth community and in the near South Side, which were excellent and really worked, but we found there's a lot of demand for these types of activities, and we're hoping that everybody feels comfortable coming out in the spring of 2022. And so I wanted to open up for questions if we've got time, and any other thoughts if I haven't gone too much in the weeds. You are sitting at the right table. You just need to reach right over to Brandy O'Quinn, and she is ready to talk sponsorships and support. We have some excellent sponsors that are supporting us. We have more opportunities. We couldn't do it alone on that front, and it really helps to support the mission, and goes directly to support the event and putting a spotlight on them. And so we do absolutely welcome opportunities of the financial and the human capital sources. Yes? Ooh, that's a good one. So strategies for proactively encouraging companies to stay in town as they hit those milestones and look around, because some will be highly motivated, like Elise, like I want to stay here. But many will look at, oh, I'm going to find the best opportunity as possible. It's speed of the network being connected so that we can anticipate those milestones, that we can spread that out. So I can imagine us really advancing. So we do this in angel investing across the state. We share, hey, here's deals that are raising capital. Are they of interest to you? Let's get it connected across the region. We need to do that with our own local community. Have the players that are all on a mailing list to just quickly go, here's the next milestone that's coming up. How do we keep them? What's the opportunities that we can present to them? Let's have a big round table around to talk with what their needs are. I've got one right now. One company is looking to get a higher profile location that's going to need some wet lab space, going to need office space, because they are reaching some key milestones and they feel the need to really be in a more visible location. So really open to kind of having that as a testing ground. Let's launch it and do it, because like I said, we can't put it into the lease agreement or anything like that, but if we can help them fall in love with the community, from talent, capital, infrastructure, and speed of the network, I think we have a good equation that starts to get that, but people may still choose the incentive packages, and that's where we put Robert to work. Any others? Well, we absolutely love the work that we do, and if you want to join in, we're here, ready, connect with multiple of our team members today, and there's many on-ramps to innovation here in Fort Worth. Thank you. Thank you.
Small gift.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, wow, great, exciting things going on in Fort Worth. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the judging competition. Our head judge is past president Gary Cumby, and he is making his way to the stage. His cohorts in this endeavor were Sergeant at Arms, or with arms, depending on the day, Bill Fairley and Matt Kimball. He is retired.
I can't be bought, but I can be rented. I do want to thank my fellow judges for helping me with this, but we were really impressed with the effort that went into costumes, and we tried to do our best from our vantage point to see everybody when you came in. If you think you deserve a prize and you didn't get one, then the answer is we probably didn't see you, or otherwise we would have picked you. So I just want you to, yeah. So we were given 3 categories in which to select winners. First of those was scariest. Now, I have to tell you, there was a close runner-up, and that was Eric Fox. But the winner, the winner was Maddie Compton, who came dressed as, I think, the Orange Avenger is what I'm going to call her. Maddie, would you? Oh, listen, before we do that, before Maddie comes up, let me back up. I wanted to ask everybody who came in costume to stand, because you all deserve a round of applause. You really all went to a great effort, and we need to thank you all for that. Thank you for swallowing whatever pride you have and coming in costume. So now, Maddie, will you please come forward? You are the winner of the scariest costume, the Orange Avenger. And I think we have for you a prize. Aurora is coming forward to award you your prize. You might stay close. I bet there'll be a photo op somewhere. All right, the next category is most original. Now, there were very many original costumes, and we appreciate, again, all the effort and thought that went into this. Our winner is Wanda Bonder who came as a seal pup. As you will soon see, she got and earned bonus points for degree of difficulty. Good job. All right, our final award is funniest costume. And there were some pretty funny ones too, but we gave the award to Wesley Gentle. Wesley, would you come up, please? Wesley's costume, in case you haven't figured it out yet, he is a Zoom meeting participant. And we, the committee thanks you for not going the full Monty, yeah. So these are the winners. Let's give them all a round of applause. And has everybody been given their prize? Oh, here we go. And that's our report.
All right, thank you, everybody, for participating. We once again want to thank our sponsor, the Jordan Elizabeth Harris Foundation. They do have their big event coming up, so watch for that. I will be in attendance. If you would also like to be a sponsor, please see Mark Maurer. He is somebody from TCU. I think he's Gary Patterson. That would be my guess. And then we still have tickets available for Smokey Joe's Cafe at Casa Manana. So go online. The website will be open until 3 o'clock. Get your tickets because we have to place our order. And then next week's program will be our Veterans Day program. We'll have Captain Mark McLean, Commanding Officer, U.S. Naval Joint Reserve Base, Fort Worth. And also you'll see the little duckies. We've heard some of the little duckies. The largest duck ever will be launched on the Trinity, the duck park. So see Snoopy, also known as Abby, for details. That will be tomorrow. And with that, our meeting is adjourned. Happy Halloween, everyone.